Problem is, it's very usual that after 6 months of not using this library, you have forgotten all the functionalities, all the methods. You again have to go through the documentation or any YouTube channel, and you have to understand what are the different functionalities. Hi friends, hope you are doing well and welcome to my channel. In this today's session, I'll be discussing one pain point in the life of a programmer. Here actually I am going to explain how can we work on an XLSX file using Python programming language. Well, many of us already know that to work with XLSX file using Python, we need openpyxl library. Okay, and that need to be installed in our virtual environment. Main pain point is like in general what happens, like at a particular time you got a project where you have to work on XLSX file, okay, in Python, and for that you have to learn the openpyxl library. What are the different functions, what are the attributes, different types of classes are there inside the library, and you learn all these functions, then you are applying that for knowledge to develop that project. Once that project has been done and you have delivered to your target users, then your job is done. And say for next 6 months you are not having any such project where you have to work on XLSX file. After 6 months you have got another project where you need to work with XLSX file. So here again you need to recall all the functionalities of this openpyxl library. Problem is, it's very usual that after 6 months of not using this library, you have forgotten all the functionalities, all the methods, all the object, all the classes, and all the attributes it has. Okay, then you again have to go through the documentation or any YouTube channel, and you have to understand what are the different functionalities are there, and you are you have to spend a significant amount of time, okay, to learn what you already have learned. So you are investing your time not to learn some new, you are wasting time to learn something which you have already learned. So this creates very bad feelings into the mind. In today's session I am going to explain an way. I hope that will be helpful to recall those the functionality of this library. The thought is like that is not to learn what the functionality is there in the openpyxl library. In place, try to understand what are the functionality there should be inside the openpyxl. Then you go to openpyxl and it will be very easier to go through the openpyxl library to understand, and it will be helpful to recall that functionality for future use. Like for an example, when you have an existing XLSX file like this, first of all, to work on it you have to open that XLSX file. Okay, so first I have opened that XLSX file. Then you have to notice how many worksheets are there into the XLSX file, and then you have to know on which worksheets you want to work on, and then you have to select that. So first thing, you have to open the file. Next is you need to know the list of worksheets available into the file. Then you have to select a particular worksheets, and when a particular worksheet has been selected, then you can see a list of rows, number of rows, and the number of columns are available, and final target is the number of cells are available. To work inside an XLSX worksheet, you need to traverse through different rows. So it is expected that, and you need to traverse through different columns. Finally you need to traverse through different cells in this way. Okay, so what we are expecting from openpyxl library, there should be one method that will load the xlsx file, and that method name is load workbook is the method name. Okay, so I am showing how can I load this file. So this is the file. I'll be taking the path of it, copy path. Okay, now here I have already copied the path of the file, so I'm not again giving this, and in this method I'm taking the file as a parameter, file path. Okay, so to open the file, what I will be doing, I have already imported this openpyxl. So openpyxl load workbook. As we are expecting, there should be some method that will allow you to open the file. Next thing is we want to see the what are the different worksheets are available. So we can do a print statement, this workbook object. Okay, where when I am loading the workbook, then it will be returning an workbook object available to a Python developer as an open file. So I'm setting it as open workbook. So now its workbook is open to the Python developer. Now here I will be writing the sheet names. Okay, now you can see the list of sheets available into the particular file. Okay, now you know that this is the worksheet you want to open. So for that, so the workbook and the inside square bracket, if you provide this sheets name, worksheets name, it will be returning you an worksheet object. From the programmer's point of view, an object is available to use means the corresponding worksheet is open in front of you. So now you can access the worksheets. So when you have got the worksheets, now as I have told that you will be seeing the number of columns and number of rows. Okay, so there should be one method such that we can iterate over different rows and different columns. Okay, we can expect that we are iterating through over rows, we are iterating over column when the worksheet is open. So that means we can expect a iter rows over the worksheets. Now rows iter, so you got a rows iterator. Okay, and using a for loop you can go through rows one after another rows. Okay, now when you have got a row, it is very usual that you want to read all the cells of the row. Okay, now so if you do a for loop over the iterator, so for row in rows iter, now each row is a list of cell. Now that when you have selected a particular row, you have selected the row just to go through the each cell of the row or a particular cell of the row. So when you have selected, so it is expected that you may want to go through the cell. So for that you can just use a for loop for cell in row. Now if you want to print cell, then what it will be returning. Okay, till now whatever I was explaining is actually the workbook object, worksheet object, and row object, cell object. Now it's an object. I have access to that particular cell. What you want to do after getting access to a particular cell? You may want to access its value, you may want to access its row, you may want to access its column, right? Python openpyxl should provide these three attributes for each cell. Okay, so here we may want to know the value. Let me see that if value is available for it or not. If there is any type of error message, I will check the code what it is, what cell dot column should be providing, then print cell dot row. Okay, so these are the things it should be printing to in front of us. To make the thing easier, I will be reducing the list. Okay, I'm setting a counter here. Counter equal to 0. Counter plus equal to 1. So that way, whenever we are going through particular one row, it will be increasing the counter by 1. And counter is greater than 3, I will say break it. First of all, it should allow me to all the rows of this of that worksheet, and when I got access to all the rows, it should allow me to access all the cell of that particular row. When I got an access to the particular cell, what is our main intention? To get the value from the cell, right? And there should be two more attributes of a particular cell, that is column number and the row number. Okay, or we can expect the column character, because in case of column we used to get a character, in case of cell it used to get a row, because finally whenever we want to get access a particular column, we need to provide the column later only, right? So we are expecting it should be returning a column later, and it should be returning a row number, and it should be providing the value. Okay, let me see what is happening. Okay, let me see what is this. So first it has printed KPI name. Okay, KPI name is the first cell, and it's and then I have printed the column value. Okay, the column of this KPI name is 1. It's not a character, it's not a letter, we are expecting there should be, it should be A. Alright, and the row is 1, that's fine. Okay, then next is KPI number. For KPI number column is 2, which is again we are not expecting, we are expecting the column should be B, and the row is 1, it's fine. Okay, again for this entry the column is 1 and row is 2. Column is actually a number which we are not expecting, we are expecting column should be a letter. So there should be an way out, there should be an existing way out that will convert this number into column character, column letter, and will help me in future activities, right? So till now our expectation is matching, that is it has a value, it has a column, and it has a row attribute, but one expectation is not matching is column is actually populated as a number, it should be populated as a letter. Alright, because if I want to access a particular column here, I think I need to provide this thing. Okay, and ws this one, it should be returning a row, and this should be returning a column. Say column B is supposed to be like this, and column C is supposed to be like this. In worksheet, if you select the particular number, you can select a particular number. So this Python should also allow this type of thing, that we are selecting a particular number of row. And the same way, if we select this B, we can do this. So Python should also allow this thing. So in worksheet, if we provide these things, at the same time, if we click on we can click on a particular cell. So Python should also provide an way out to access a particular cell. The cell 1 equal to ws. Okay, then so b3. So this is my expectation. Let me see what I'm getting. So if I do a print, okay, let me do few stuff, because that was, now I'll be printing column B, column B. Now I'll be printing row. Oh, what happens? Oh, sorry, I have made mistake here. I don't know why did I see it. Row 1, row 1, and then print cell 1. I am actually printing the object only, not the value inside the object, not any attributes of that object. Okay, let me see that if this object is available or not. If we are getting that object by accessing column B, by providing this B and providing this 1 and providing this B3, that means worksheet, Python is allowing us to access these three object of a particular worksheets. Yeah. Yes, it has allowed. Now here it is clear that worksheet object is expecting a letter to access a particular column. When we are accessing a particular cell, providing this much of information, then there is no needed of the attribute cell column and cell row, because I already know that. Here the problem statement. So we know the header name I want, but I don't know the position of the header. If you have the problem like this, then you need to know all the attributes, that is at column row of a particular cell. Like for this example, this is the KPI name and KPI number, and I want to look for KPI number column. Okay, here it is at the B column, but it is not mandatory. This KPI number will always be, there is no surety, this KPI number will always be into the B column. So in that case, we have to take the header row. Okay, I have to through the header row to check for this value. for which cell value is KPI number. Alright, I will be as manual. What you do, we will be selecting this row, and I will be checking that yes, this row, this cell is actually KPI number, this cell is having KPI number. What is the column value of this cell? Its column value of this cell is equal to B, so we'll be selecting this B column to get all the KPI numbers. So first of all, we need to access the first row of this file. How can you access the first row? We have already written the code. Let me write that code again. Column row head, I'm writing it now, ad row. So I have got the header row. Now if we use a for loop for cell in head row, check if cell dot value equal to KPI number. If this condition is matching, if this condition is matched, in that case I will take that particular cell and get the column value for that particular cell, and then next I will be selecting that particular column and going through all the cells for that particular column. Right, this is my target. I will be going through all the cells of the particular row, and I will be checking in which cell the value is KPI number. Now here we need to be cautious about, like, this KPI number may be having some space. So for that you can do a strip method. You can run a strip method. So for that you have to cast this value into string. So for casting this value into string, you can do this thing. You can do this thing, and then you can run strip. It will be stripping all the blank space in right and left side of the value it got from the column. So it will be taking this value, it will be stripping all the blank spaces around it, then compare with this. And once it's got a match, what I will do, I know that the column number I will be getting column number, because I have checked already. Column number equal to cell dot column. Is it the value is a column? Yes, the cell has an attribute. We have tested that cell has an attribute column. It may be that call is there. So I was just trying to validate that what we have checked before. So now as I know that it will be returning a number, so we have to do something, right? So after traversing through each cell of the header row, I have got the value of column number. Now I have to work with that column number, and I have to use that column number in future. Okay, so here what I will do, I will use that column number to get the column character. Now if I want to access the column number, this column number is, it is saying that this column number is not initiated before, because we have initiated the column number inside the for loop. Okay, we have to initiate it nbr equal to none. So if I initiate this column number equal to none, in that case we will be having this value outside the. I need to get the column, cat a column later. Column later. So for column later, openpyxl has an utility. It is expected that there should be something and that will give the column later from the column number. This is actually some, we can say it's a drawback of this openpyxl. Saying some error message. Oh, there is a spell mistake. Sorry. Now it has worked. So open, actually the this thing is getting highlighted because PyCharm do not have support of this openpyxl. It's a community version I'm using, and we have find out what are the different mistakes we have done during the coding. So this is very usual. Human beings should do mistake, but you have to find out the what is the reason behind this error message. I have to debug that. That's very much important. If you once you have the column later, so you can access that particular column. So my KPI number, how can you get the KPI number column? Worksheet, okay, then column later. So that way it will be returning the KPI number column object. Now you have the whole object. You have the whole object with you. It is selected. Okay. Now I will go through for cell in KPI number column. Okay. Here I want to print all the value except the header line, right? How can I do? We can do many way. However, I'm showing you one way. I hope you should like it. So say cell dot row is not equal to 1. How it is? If cell dot row is not equal to 1, then print cell dot value. What happens? It's giving an error message. Does not support. Okay, sorry, it does not support this. So this is the comparator operator. So if the cell row is not equal to 1, that means not the header row, then you print the cell. Alright, see, it has printed all the value inside the column. So we are almost there. We have almost go through all the activities we generally do with an XLSX file. Okay, but there are many things can be done with the XLSX file. There is no limit, you can say that. Yes, in theory there is limit, but in practical you can say that there is no limit, so we can do many things with XLSX file. But in general what we do, I have covered almost, and the few thing you can do more is like yes, I did not cover the create new XLSX file. Yes, it should allow you to create an XLSX file. For that you have to wb say new workbook I'm creating pyxl workbook class. You can create a workbook object of that. In that case it is available in front of you. And finally whenever you are creating an workbook object, you should do this new workbook object. You should do a save. I want to save this file, this name. Okay, create an worksheet. So you have to, when you have created an XLSS file, you should have to create an worksheet, right? Is it? So the sheet has been created. Once you have got the worksheet, okay, so there you can assign a value to any cell of it. So I'm giving a value to the particular cell. From the previous part of this session, you already know how can you traverse through each of the cells into the XLSS file, into an XLSX file. So that way you can access any cell, and you can allocate value to that cell when you are creating an XLSS file. One thing I have missed here, I did not cover that part. How can I traverse each column of the worksheets? So for that, you can create a column iterator. Okay, call it here, and it can be done. Here you can provide maximum row, some value, certain max column, some value 2. Okay, minimum column, so 1, minimum row 1, this thing. So you can also provide these things. Same thing is applicable for iter row also. So that way you have got, as I have shown you the iteration of row, iteration through all the rows of an set. Here you can use this object to iterate over all the columns of an worksheet. And once you have a particular column, how can you iterate through? As shown here, when you have got a column, okay, cell of the header row, this is row iteration, and this is column iteration. Okay, cell of column. So I think it's all. I have covered pretty much. I hope it will be helpful to you, and it should be helpful to our final target. That is, it should be helpful to remember this functionality of openpyxl. So may I expect a thumbs up from you? Bye bye.